right, if you are joining me for this practice, then you should have dividing into decimals mini practice. We have 4 problems here, and what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of practice going through these. I'm going to help you set them up, then you're going to end up solving them on your own and coming back to check. So let's get started. It says Maria is cutting bulletin board paper into equal lengths. The total length of the paper is 434 centimeters long. She wants to cut the paper into 8 equal pieces. How many centimeters will each paper be? All right, so in this little box that they have here, let's go ahead and make us a little window pane, just like that. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to go through and I want to think about, well, who's in the story and what's happening. So in the story, I'm going to try to think about no numbers. I just want to think about what things are happening. I know Maria, and she's cutting some paper. Okay, I see that she's cutting it into equal lengths. Okay, that's kind of important. All right, some more information. The total length of the paper is 434 centimeters long. So again, that we know the total length. That's pretty important. And she wants to cut them into equal pieces. And so again, how many centimeters will each piece be? Okay, so now that I've read the question twice, and the second time I kind of went through and I kind of looked at those particular details like cutting and equal pieces, I'm going to go ahead and draw right over here 2 ideas. I know because we have equal pieces, it's either multiply or divide. Okay, and so from there, I'm going to take my question and it says, how many centimeters will each piece be? We can say each piece will be blank centimeters. All right. So we're wanting to know about one piece. When I hear the word each, I want to know about one. So right now, I'm going to draw a picture of what I think is going on. So I'm going to draw me a little unit bar right here. And one thing that I noticed that I had was the total length. The total length was 434 centimeters long. And when I think about the total length, I'm going to put that information on top because I know that this is not going to be any longer. This piece right here, this is as big as it's going to be. When I read the next sentence, it says she's going to cut. So my next thought is she's cutting this long piece into pieces. She wants to cut it into 8 pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and call this piece 1, piece 2, piece 3, piece 4, piece 5, piece 6, piece 7, and piece 8. So she's wanting these to be cut. Now what I have to do is figure out what is the length of each of these pieces. So when I'm trying to take the total and I'm cutting it evenly, and the word cut makes me think that I'm actually doing that. I'm dividing this bulletin board paper into equal pieces. I know that division is what I'm looking for. Okay? And so now that I've got that figured out, I'm going to go ahead and solve this. So I have 434 divided by 8. And over here, I'm going to make a quick estimate. So I want to think about something that's reasonable, that's easy to work with. So when I think about 434, I think about 400, because that's pretty easy to work with the number 8. And so in my head, I'm thinking to myself, well, how many groups of 8 are in the number 40? Well, there would be 5, so how many would be in 400? That would give me an answer close to 50. So I'm thinking to myself, my answer is going to be pretty close to 50 centimeters. All right, so let's set this up. We have 434, and we're dividing by 8. So at this point, what I'd like you to do is pause the video, go ahead and make your count bys for the number 8, and then solve it, and then come back to check. All right, so now that you've had the opportunity to solve it, we're going to go ahead and set up our count bys. That makes it quick and easy for solving. 7, 8, and 9. And because we're dividing by 8, I'm going to count by 8s. 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, and 72. All right, now let's go over here and get started. How many groups of 8 are in the number 4? Well, there are 0, so I'm going to put a 0 placeholder there. I'm looking now at the number 43. How many groups of 8 are in 43? So I'm going to get as close as I possibly can, and 5 goes on top. 5 times 8 is 40. Now what we're going to do is we're going to subtract, and I get 3 left over. And the next thing I would want to do would be to bring down the 4. How many groups of 8 are in 34? So as I scan, I know that there's 4 that will give me a group of 32. There we go. And 34 minus 32 is 2. So remember, in 5th grade, we cannot get any remainders. So the next thing that I would want to do would be to add a decimal and add a 0. And once I add that decimal and I add a 0, 2 things need to happen. I need to pop up the decimal first, and then I need to drop the 0 down, just like that. Now I can continue dividing. How many groups of 8 are in 20? And if I go over here, I can see that 2 groups will get me to 16. 2 groups of 8 is 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. And I still cannot have a remainder, so I'm going to add another 0. And I'm going to drop the 0. We would not want to add another decimal. We only add 1 decimal per number. Alright, so now I get to divide that again. How many groups of 8 are in the number 40? And as I look over here, there are 5. 5 times 8 is 40 with 0 left over. So I'm going to go back to my estimate. My estimate was 50. My actual answer is 54 and 2500ths. And I would say that yes, these are very relatable, and that is a reasonable answer. So each piece is going to be 54 and 2500ths of a centimeter long. All right, I'll see you back for number 2.